Go get this. Welcome back. Woo! Chillin with Dylan, sports, music, and life takes. Episode 16. Back with Phil, my brother of Wilson Way Sports. Phil Wilson, NBA Finals Game 6 recap. We've been keeping y'all up to date with our perspectives, our predictions, and everything else under the sun revolving this amazing NBA Finals so far. But that was a weird game, Game 6. So we just got to get right into it. Brother Phil, what did you think about Game 6?
So just to start off, man, I don't know who's more disappointed, the Thunder and Jim Jones, because they both just not making much sense to me right now, man. To recap last episode from Wilson Way Sports Talk, I did say I'm a dude who likes to have, stick to it when it comes to how I say my predictions. I don't like to be wishy-washy with some dudes on certain networks when they, want to talk ball and they want to say, oh, it's going to be a sweep. Oh, well, the Pacers won game 1, so it's going to be a 5-game series. Oh, Pacers won game 3, so it'll be Thunder. Like, no, just make a prediction and stick to it, bro. So what we both, me and Dylan, both said were Thunder in 6, in which they had every bit of chance for that to happen. They won game 5 in Oklahoma City. Game 6 obviously was in Indiana, and the big thing was I was picking them to win. My big concern was that despite their talent, 68-win team, Jalen Williams balled out 3 straight games, 25-plus points. You know what I'm saying? One of the all-time great defenses statistically, all that good stuff. Tyrese Halliburton's hurt. You know what I'm saying? Who we don't know who's going to show up in Game 6 at home. Can Kyle work his magic? We get to Game 6, and the one thing I said was, despite my prediction being Thunder in 6, the one thing that would hang me up to where a Game 7 might happen would be, okay, the Thunder don't show up with this dog mentality required of a championship caliber team and close things out with a sense of urgency. Close out games, as I said before in the last show, close out games are extremely hard to win. Every champion knows that. Players always say that, so I follow that logic. And I knew what it would require for that to happen, for them to win. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen it as a Laker fan, I've seen it. So how do you just don't care to show up? That's my thing. It's like it ain't like okay, Halliburton come in, drop 30. Pascal come in and have game even though he was possessed in that pregame huddle. You know what I'm saying? So then that's my issue as far as like when you're a team that's that talented, but the inexperience sometimes shows more than your talent does. Because that's the thing I have issue with. It's not like, again, when I said Pacers didn't play great, you had to play bad for them to win. You had to play beneath your level for them to win. And when you do that, you open up the door to a potential terrible upset. So that was my big thing as far as like, had a prediction. And I mentioned for my prediction to not occur or be accurate, this is what has to happen. And exactly what I said happened. Inexperience came in, and now we're in here for it should be an epic Game 7.
I mean, the amount of, I don't want to say disgust. That might be going on.
Disappointment?
Just the amount of disappointment that I had after saying, you know what, OKC's figured it out, close out the series. You know what I'm saying? They're going to finally have that game where they show the world they're the 68-win team that had the best record in the entire NBA. I don't know what the hell happened. I feel like, just the way that they started out, it seemed like, okay, like this is going to be a dogfight, but they're going to pick it up. But I don't know from like the second quarter and on, and then especially when Tyrese made that look to Pascal, Yeah, baptizing J-Dub.
Yeah.
Dunking on him like he stole something.
Mm-hmm.
I expected, okay, all right, we're gonna come out with some fight. And then Pascal made the shot over Caruso to end the half.
The buzzer, yeah.
And they went up by like 20. So I'm thinking, okay, OKC really got punched in the mouth. Like,
how you gonna respond?
He's getting like bam, bam, wham, bam, Superman, Roy Jones. I don't know what happened after that. It was like, hey, nah, we just gonna lay down the rest of the game. Mm-hmm. And that to me is unacceptable. Mm-hmm. I have been trying so hard to give all the bail and the leeway and the room possible for OKC. I've stretched myself thinner than Chet, okay?
Come on.
Where is Chet? What is going on? 2 for 9 again?
Come on,
again?
man.
We putting up concert tour dates?
2 for 9.
What is going on, fam? You are getting out rebounded by TJ McConnell.
That stat blew my mind when I saw it. I was like, wait a minute, that's got to be a misprint somewhere. I know somebody who went 6-1 on a good day ain't getting no what? What did he get? 9 rebounds? Let me see that again.
9 rebounds.
Yeah, 9 rebounds, right? Yeah.
Like,
oh my goodness.
What is going on? Like, I will shoot SGA and J-Dub some bail. Some, not much, but some. They were getting doubled and triple teamed all night. But where is everybody else? Where is everybody else? Chet, nowhere to be found. Your bench, nowhere. No one but Isaiah Joe when the game was out of reach put up more than 5 points off your bench. That is not going to cut it. You supposedly have one of the deepest rosters of all time. Well, this is the time where they step up. This is the time where they need to take that leap if your starters aren't doing their job. Mm-hmm. But like I'm perplexed at the lack of fight. I'm perplexed at how sloppy that they were playing. Mm-hmm. And the fact that this wasn't a game that was out of reach to start out. Mm-hmm. And honestly, even though the score definitely showed that, okay, India's figured it out. They're locked in. At any given moment, to some degree, you felt like, but OKC's going to turn that switch on.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
Never happened. Mm-mm. Not once. And not like Indiana shot the ball well.
Mm-mm. They didn't play.
They got outshot from the field and from the free throw line. The only thing that they did better was shoot threes better. That's it. And that was just more of volume. They just were they were shooting up more threes, and somehow they let Obi Toppin go out there looking like Kevin Durant and TJ McConnell looking like Chris Paul. Like, what is going on? Man? What is going on? So at this point, even Neesmith didn't do much after the rest of the game, but he started the game semi looking like, okay, like
threes.
Neesmith from the Cavs series, the Neesmith from the Knicks series is showing up. I don't know what is up with OKC, and the fact that Indy, I think now it's got to the point where if I'm OKC, the fact that Indy hasn't even played at their best.
Mm-mm. They haven't had to.
I need to be worried about, because now you run the risk of you lose the finals on your home court in a game 7. How do you respond to that level of a collapse? How? So I really don't know whether to stick with OKC winning this or but momentum it's not looking good for them right now. Just to be honest, it's not looking good for them right now. If I'm gonna just go off of momentum and go off the belief that they have and the resilience, I gotta go Indy at this point.
So how I can respond to that? What scares me most about this game 7? I want to see how you agree with this. What scares me most about this, for as someone who still is going to go with the Thunder, I'm gonna go down with the ship. I'll be honest. But what scares me is
you know what? Actually, nah, you're right. I'm a man. I'm gonna stand. I'm gonna go down with the I'm gonna feel like the biggest idiot in the world.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm a Laker fan. My team lost in the first round, bros. I mean, I'm already.
Hey, look, I'm a Celtics. We went out we went out in the most sad way possible. Just
I ain't gonna take it to heart.
So
you know what I mean. But basically, what I want to say, what scares me most as someone who is picking the Thunder is the fact that, like, okay, we know for the Thunder to win Game 7, we know SGA the MVP got to play great. I believe he will. My question is greatness. But what scares me most, the Pacers, is they ain't got to play great, or one individual player doesn't have to play great. They just got to play good enough, keep it close. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe it's gonna be a close game. If they play good enough as a team, they can find a way to win. That's what's scary. You know what I mean? Because like the fact that like you don't need a Tyrese Halliburton to get the 20 and 10 I thought he had to average for them to be in this position. Pascal, you know, if he does, Pascal, if he does have a great game, which he's capable of doing, like that's great. But I mean, in Game 6, I thought he would have a game like that for them to have a chance to win. I bet the over. The over was 20 and 21 and a half. I bet the over. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm he gonna show up tonight. He's going for a big game, and he would need to, right? He didn't need to. They won by 17, and he had 16 points. That's what scares me. So I'm like, okay. One thing I think about, okay, again, SGA is gonna show up, but who can I trust when it matters most? That's been a big conversation. We think about this whole thing with ring culture, you know, with LeBron when he brought up that conversation. But one of the things I always think about is not about just the ring itself, that shiny, you know, piece of metal. It's more so about in the process of getting to the mountaintop. Exactly. What did you do? Exactly. And in the case of the Thunder, that's where it's going to be. To get to this mountaintop, it can't be the SGA show in Game 7. It's, you know, I'm not going to do it. I would love for Chet to show up and finally put some muscle, whatever he has. I would love it, but am I betting on it? No. So that's my question. Going back to the Pacers, like, okay, we know in the Pacers they don't have to have one individual guy play great. They just got to play good enough as a unit, as a team, power of friendship to really get this thing going and possibly have one of the biggest upsets in NBA history. But at the same time, if you're the Thunder, if you win this series, you're at the point now. I'm like, people aren't really gonna give you the same level of credit because it's like, yo, you beat the Pacers in 7, like y'all supposed to be them boys,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's a great way to segue. But if you're OKC and you win this finals, but you win it in a sloppy, ugly way, yes, what does this mean for you in trying to establish yourself as that next perennial dynasty in the NBA? Because right now, this is not off to the best of starts. Being honest, and we're being objective here.
Absolutely.
I feel like right now it's so tough because it's like, you know, I picked the Thunder. I wanted to see the Thunder win. Not that I had a problem with Indiana or that I didn't have, like, no, hats off to them. They have been showing why sports is so great, right? Sports is great because of these type of underdog stories that, you know, the unimaginable happens. But if I'm OKC, I have to be feeling some way internally within myself of like, dang, all right, we not only had the best record in the West, we had the best record in the league, we had an historic defense, we've got an MVP player who's having one of the best MVP seasons in recent. Everything possible has been lined up. There's no dynasty of this current era. No team has won back-to-back. No team has established themselves as the team to beat. Now, even if we win, we're not going to get the same caliber of respect unless we go out in this Game 7 and blow them out. But even then, people are still going to find a way to say, but it took y'all 7. Mm-hmm. Why did it take y'all 7? Because this Pacers team, they're good, but they're not
no all-time great.
They're not no all-time team. They're just clicking at the right time. All the cylinders are rolling together. But then it makes other teams say, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna be back. We
next year we got this. Yeah,
that's the defending champs. We got them.
Yeah, they sweet. Yeah,
it's like, look, I'm gonna say this with defense of my Celtics, right? Everyone, no one cares about that 2024 team. Well, we won in 5, and we blew them out multiple games. So we actually handled the job. We were the favorite team, and we won. OKC is the favorite team, and they're struggling.
There's doubt. There's doubt. Yeah.
There's enough doubt, and there's definitely enough doubt on their side. I hate to say it, but they definitely have to be, because I mean, look, anytime where you have a game where, in this past game, for instance, right, they allowed a 17-2 run, and that's what started the downhill turn. Because first quarter it was a boom, jab, weave, jab, bam, bam. Second quarter hits, and especially after that dunk, you might as well chalk the game, pass the sticks, game over. Because after that, it was it did not matter. It did not matter what shot.
It was over. Yeah.
Over. Obi was throwing up whatever and making whatever. TJ McConnell was getting steals and rebounds like he was Dennis Rodman. Andrew Nembhard barely touched the ball, but anytime he did, it was a bucket.
It's a bucket.
You know, you have to like sit with yourself and reconcile with the fact that, okay, and we basically let Tyrese Halliburton have like a little mini Willis Reed moment. Like, there's everything that you would have wanted not to happen, you allowed to happen. What happened? What's going on? And I would love to know what kind of conversation David is having with the players, because I am truly like, I've never seen. It sucks. The last finals I can remember where, you know, the lower seed was just kind of like outplaying them without having to outplay them at their own game was Dallas. I mean, Dallas and the Heat in 20, and it's no surprise. It's not ironic that the same coach. But like, anytime you lose in a fashion like that, when, you know, Miles Turner is still shooting 1 for 9, you have to sit with yourself and ask, what is going on?
And that's why, to your point with that 2011 team, with Dallas won, there is shades of that. Not just the coach, but you think about with Miami, more talented team. You know what I'm saying? Had, you know, one of the greatest players of all time. You know what I'm saying? MVP, all that good stuff. But one thing to think about is that with the Heat, they got in their own way. They beat themselves. They allowed themselves to be beat. It wasn't like, you know, I said Dirk, who played phenomenal. It wasn't like, you know, that Dallas team was the most unbelievable team ever.
No.
You know what I'm saying? You know, they're very underrated, I felt like, all time. But still, you're not looking at them in the same regard as, like, you know, you ain't calling them like the 72 Bulls and nothing like that, something crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that's my point when it comes to, like, the Thunder. You're not having to deal with those same odds. So it's like, why is so much stacked against you at this point now? You know what I'm saying? Why are you in this position? But now the one to kind of bring to that point now, as far as that argument, as far as like, okay, what is Dagno saying in the locker room, right? One thing I think about is, okay, this is what you wanted. This is the game 7 at home. It's in your building. Every coach, every team wants that, right? Now, I will say, to their advantage, the Thunder have had, you know, their number in the last 2 games in Oklahoma City, blowing them out, right? And for the Pacers side, they've been great at home, especially defensively. Defensively is where they've been clamping the Thunder, at least in games 3 and 6. You know what I'm saying? Where they got those 2 big wins. But the thing is, on the road, I will be interested to see, can the Pacers bring that same defensive intensity. That's going to really dictate the series or the game to me for the defensive intensity. Game 7, can they have the same energy at home as on the road? Because we talk about, like, you know, role players play better at home, but the role players play better defense on at home in this series. You know what I'm saying? Not just shooting the ball. You know what I'm saying? Because shooting the ball, like, they haven't shot the ball great as far as the role players this series. But it's been the defense that's really been the most impressive part of their game. So can they bring that same defensive intensity on the road? Because you're going to need that to beat the Thunder in Game 7 in Oklahoma City.
I think a very interesting stat is the fact that they were held to the OKC was held to the lowest amount of points since 2022. Unbelievable. You want to? That's when I graduated college.
Good Lord.
Like, man, I'm trying so hard to. I'm trying so hard to find a way to kind of give a real opportunity for OKC to redeem themselves. And they do by extension of having game 7, but it's like it should have never came to this.
Mm-mm.
At worst, right? At worst, I would the only reason why I said game 6 was because OKC might figure a thing or two out. I mean, Indy might figure a thing or two out. They might have like just a lights out game where they're unconscious. Sure. But they've not had that game.
The entire series.
Like no team has had that unconscious game. That's the greatest part of all of this. So it's like, are we just gonna have a series of like ugly play, or is there gonna be some unconscious moment? Because like the last time I remember an ugly series was 07 with the Spurs and the Cavs.
Yeah.
That was an ugly series where it was like, every game was just, okay,
wasn't fun to watch, yeah.
But it was like kind of painful. It was kind of like, okay.
You got to see how it ends, right? Because it's so ugly.
Yeah, but now with this Pacers team, they're fine with winning ugly. But with the Thunder, I don't know if y'all can win ugly. I don't, because y'all are not showing me that you have that wherewithal to be able to withstand all this pressure that's on you. I just don't know. And it's like, I want to have that confidence. I want to be like, yo, this is a talented team that won 68 games for a reason. But y'all are not giving me anything to work with here.
For real. It scares me too, because again, when I brought up inexperience in game 6, before going into that game, of how would that be an issue, or would that be an issue as far as like them winning the game, and it was. Now you go to a game 7 where it's even more pressure. You know what I'm saying? Because again, the closeout games are the hardest games to win. Now it's a closing game for both teams, but the Thunder have the most pressure because they're the heavily favored team. They're at home. There's no excuse. There's no reason they shouldn't be in this position.
No.
So it's like with them in this position now, you have to win. But again, with that inexperience coming into play in the game 7, and yes, I know they played a game 7 against the Nuggets. These are totally different states, total different situation. So because of that, that's what scares me for them in this situation. For it's like, okay, I need to know who the X factor is going to be to kind of come and know it. And in a game 7 in an NBA Finals, I think it has to be Alex Caruso. I want to see what you think like that, because again, he's a champion. He's been a dude who's had 20 points multiple times off the bench, who showed up. I think if you need continuity off the bench, it can't just be again the starters, because I don't know what you're going to get from Chet. Because like Isaiah Hartenstein, I think he'll play good defensively. I don't know how much offense you get out of him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking like, okay, off the bench, who can be a dude who can settle the team down, hit some big shots, also play elite defense to kind of lead the Thunder outside of SGA Alves. What do you think?
Man,
it's gotta be Caruso, bro.
Yeah, no, it's gotta be, because there's no one else. There's no one else
you trust
the pedigree,
that
you can trust.
That's the difference,
and that's been able to show it.
Yes,
when called upon. So, yeah, I guess it's got to be Caruso, because right now, looking at Indy, they have the luxury of, they don't need Tyrese to have that big game. They don't need Pascal to have a big game. I mean, anytime you can win off the bench with Obi and McConnell, and you're able to withstand another poor shooting game from Miles Turner. I mean, at that point, there's nothing else you can do. Nothing else you can do if you're OKC. And I feel like right now, I think OKC OKC, if they lose, is going to have some very tough conversations when the second apron hits.
Yes.
Particularly with Mr. Holmgren. Because if OKC loses, but SGA and J Dub play well, well then all that says is you're the odd one. You're the one of these things is not like the other. One of these things does not belong. Like you are not able to reach the standard that these two guys is at.
Yes.
You need to look for someone who can. And it's unfortunate because it's like I do think Chet has a very promising.
I like Chet, yeah, for sure.
I think he's got a lot of talent, but it's like you're not doing yourself any favors with the way you've been playing this series, like at all. It's been. I really feel like if Chet had been playing even decently, they likely would have closed the series out already.
For sure, yeah.
Likely, like SGA, I'm not worried about because he's getting like that superstar treatment of like
that respect, really, yeah.
All the defenses are thrown at him, but J Dub's had his games of 25 or more, but Chet,
come on, brother.
Woo! It ain't looking too good for you, my boy. It ain't looking too good. And I mean, I'm Indy, right? Miles, hey, it ain't looking too good for you either, though. Like to keep it real.
I'm betting the under on him. Tell you that right now. 12.5. I'm betting the under. That's
yeah, that's smart. I would never in this series. No point in taking over with Miles. But then even I think that's the hard thing when you have an ugly series. It unfortunately has a negative residual effect because our guy that we've been bigging up and thinking was going to take over, Benedict Mathurin on Juneteenth on your birthday,
bro. 2 more points than me, bro.
What's going on? I'm like, maybe it's not as big in Canada, but here in the States, brother, here in the States, you gotta come on now. I mean, y'all won. Thankfully, y'all won. But 2 points? 2?
And the 2 he got was in garbage time. It was in the fourth quarter.
So it's like that's what's hard about this series is that it's ugly for everybody. Really, the only ones who are going to get out of this unscathed are Pascal, Nemhard, SGA, and J-Dub. And Halliburton as well. But is that superstar combo ever going to happen again? This is a weird series.
But to your point with Tyrese, because I had that in my notes as far as like what I say here. I said for far as Halliburton, what to expect from him. Now, admittedly, it's not a whole lot. I'm not trying to say I'm out here believing he's going to drop 30, but if he balls out in this game 7, man, it'll be hard pressed for me to believe the Pacers couldn't find a way to win because again, we said earlier they don't even need they top guys to play well necessarily play great for them to win. They don't need that. They're a team there. They have a lot of continuity that they find guys who can do it just enough to get you a dub. But if Tyrese Halliburton can sprinkle a little superstar dust on himself, you know what I'm saying, like he had in previous series, it's gonna be very scary. You know what I'm saying? And I honestly, it'd be interesting to see because, like I say, him coming off this injury, we know how he's been really up and down this playoffs. Like I said, I love the finals and how it always builds perceptions and it builds narratives of how you view players. His way he's been perceived going into the finals is a lot different from how he's perceived right now because of how things have transpired in the finals. Yeah. But you can change it all with one game.
Yeah.
That's what's great about sports. That's what's great about the NBA finals. You may not have had your best, most consistent finals, most consistent playoff series up to this point, but boy, you show up in a game 7 You ain't never buying a drink in Indiana ever again.
No, for real.
Come on now.
You get a Game 7 victory.
Come on, man.
On the road, and you ball out, and you have like you put together like that masterpiece game. Your jersey's gonna get retired at some point.
Over with. Oh yeah.
Because who else brought the finals? Who else took y'all this far? And that's where it's tough. Like when you have more to lose than your opponent, you're always going to be at a disadvantage because you have to now ensure that I not only win, but I play almost as perfect as a game possible.
100%.
If not, then now I have to spend the whole offseason hearing all day, all night about y'all are just paper champions. Y'all won a ring, but I mean, whatever. Like nobody's looking at me serious. Nobody's looking at me and thinking, oh, yeah, we're a dynasty. We're an elite team. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way sports coverage goes, and that's the way. We live in a very much so. What have you done for me lately?
100%, yeah.
And that's unfortunate, man. It's really unfortunate. But I think that if OKC loses this, then it's just Indiana deserved to win. Like
for sure, absolutely.
They did everything possible, winning as a team. But if at the same token, if OKC wins this, I mean, then yes, they did what was needed, but unfortunately, history might not be kind to them.
I agree, and I think what's dangerous for this game is I can see it being a very tight game. Not just when I say tight as far as competitive, I just mean as far as the energy in the building.
Yeah,
because I mean the fans are going to feel that pressure because they're probably like, we got to go to a Game 7. Damn, I thought we'd be celebrating a championship, playing a parade right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's going to be a tight energy in the building. You know what I'm saying? A little some nervousness on both sides, and that to me is what's going to make for obviously an entertaining game. I think it's going to be competitive, but it's going to make you curious of like, okay, who can really handle this pressure? Because the pressure is going to show up for the entire game, not just the fourth quarter. The entire game is going to be pressure. It takes you back to one of the greatest games I've ever seen. It was one of the ugliest games I've ever seen. When my Lakers beat your Celtics in 2010. One of the most competitive, one of the most dog games I've ever seen in my life. But you get what I'm saying? It's the same energy. Like it was a very tight energy in that building. You know what I'm saying? Because like pins and needles. Because we knew like so many legacies were on the line. Kobe Bryant, his championship. The Celtics can they not just have that one ring that they celebrate? You know what I'm saying? The Kingdom Cup.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
That's where. That is where like people have to look at the like real life context of things. And I remember that Game 7 very well. I was in tears. Boy. Why? Because I had talked so much mess at school.
For real.
Man, having to come back to school after that. But luckily my mom came through and she brought some cupcakes. She made Celtics and Lakers cupcakes. I said,
there we go.
They was about to be on my beam. They was about to be on my top. It was about to be over. But it's like that game was so crazy because Kobe shot like 6 for 24.
Yes.
But he had like 18 rebounds.
And that's what I always say, real quick, not to cut you off. One thing I say when I test somebody's basketball knowledge, do people know the difference between having a bad game and having a bad shooting night? You can have a bad shooting night. Kobe had a bad shooting night, 6 of 24. And I know we judge him by high standard because he's, in my mind, on both our minds, a top 5 player of all time. I get that. But as far as a player having a bad game, Kobe did not have a bad game. A guard having 15 rebounds in a game where every possession mattered, that is big. And they hit a double-double. 23 and 15 is a double-double.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can shoot if you want to shoot.
And he made the game-clinching assist to Ron Artest.
That's what I'm saying. So, like I said, again, bad game and bad shooting night are two different things. Can you find ways to win? Even when you're not having your best typical game of your skill set, having a 30-point night or whatever, can you still find a way to win? Because there's some dudes, James Harden, when they're not having their best shooting night, in a game 7 when it's a big time and it matters most, it's like you're not even on the floor. You might as well just be on the bench. I'm just saying, because we've seen it too many times. Like, can you find a way to, whatever's required for you to win, you do that. If it takes you diving on the floor for loose balls, grabbing a whole bunch of rebounds, stuff outside of your typical game, but it's enough to win. Can you find a way to do that? And again, Kobe Bryant did it that night, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have to do the same thing because, like I said, I think the guys went ugly as far as this game 7.
Yeah, it's like on one hand, like I want to see the Thunder just turn up, just absolutely go berserk, go crazy.
Finally had that A+ game that we thought would come eventually. They built it up to that, but they haven't.
But if they still are struggling with that, if they still can't do it, then you got to win ugly. You got to win in a way where at the end of the day, y'all were prepared to do what you had to do to get to that point.
100%.
And I just, with OKC, it's like you don't know with them because we've not seen them in this predicament. We've not seen them in this trying period where like they haven't had to claw and fight. We haven't seen
adversity. Yeah,
we haven't seen that. With Indy, we've seen that. We've seen them. We saw them get swept last year.
Mm-hmm.
We saw them. I think they got, what was it, second round knockout when Halliburton first came through. I mean, you saw the progression, you saw the L's, you saw the journey in it. With OKC, it's like everyone is witnessing your journey right now. And it ain't looking good right now, man. It's not looking good. So I just feel like at this point, OKC needs to remind themselves of who they are. Like, they need to have that Mufasa and Simba moment. Like, I don't know, like, go watch some like highlights of like KD and Russ and be like, we're gonna do it for y'all. We're gonna win that championship. Even watch when Harden was there. Like, we're gonna win that. We're gonna win that championship that y'all never got to win. I don't know what they need to do to motivate themselves, but make no mistake, Indy believes that they can win this series. Make no mistake.
100%.
I don't get that. Thank you. I don't get that impression from OKC. It feels like there's a lot of doubt in their mind, and watching the body language of everyone.
Another key thing.
Everyone that isn't SGA or J-Dub, and even J-Dub a little bit. Really, honestly, SGA is the only one who has like maintained his composure, been able to handle whatever without looking overwhelmed.
Right.
Everybody else, though,
they look a little shook, man.
And that if you're SGA, you have to some degree feel a little bit like, is this what I have to look forward to? Like, y'all not being up to par for what my talent is capable of and producing
on a consistent basis,
So
I was going to say another thing too, as far as with the Pacers, when you mentioned their journey, they're a team that's very comfortable being doubted. Yes. I would argue they're at their best when they're doubted, and they'll probably be doubted again this game because again they're such big favorites. They've been the whole series. That's what another thing that I'm scared. I'm scary of if I'm the Thunder. That like, yo, this team, they're used to this.
They like this.
Man, they don't care. They've been doubted. I believe. Looking back on their entire playoff run, they weren't the favorite in any single playoff series. Even the Bucks, who they beat, I was in the first round. So I'm like, yo, like this team does not care. They do what they got to do, and they find a way to win. And they don't have it's not always like it's not always what you expect. It can be against your expectations, but at the end of the day, they find a way to win. And again with the Thunder, you have everything you need. There's no excuse. You're the favorite. You're at home. You gotta find a way to get it done. You got the MVP. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we know he's gonna show up, but okay, outside of him,
who else?
Do we trust? We might respect their talent, But do we trust in this game 7 that we're gonna get what we need out of them for the Thunder to capture a championship? That's my question.
That's the question that we're gonna have, man. I feel like another good question that I feel like is going to be asked is if whether Indy wins or loses, have they now set themselves up as a potential team that free agents are going to want to come over to?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think so.
If you're OKC in reverse, have you killed some of the luster around your name and your brand if you lose in this type of fashion?
And they might not even have the cap space to sign nobody anyways. If you're trying to extend J-Dub and Chet, I mean, you got draft picks you can trade. Sam Presti got a whole like laundry list of draft picks, but are you gonna be willing to make that move? Like because you mentioned in the old pod episode where we're talking about the current big three of the Thunder to the OG with KD, Russ, and Westbrook, Russ and Harden, excuse me, is with the fact that like, okay, would you make a move to that could not guarantee, but maybe in some people's eyes put you in a better position to win a championship? You don't necessarily trust maybe one or two of the young guys, i.e. Chet, right? But at the same time, what might hang you up from doing that is like, yo, like we had an all-time great big three that we let go. This big three led us to a championship. We can't let these boys go.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Because, I mean, think about the previous big three in OKC, right? They go to the finals.
Yep.
And they don't play at the level. Well, Harden doesn't. Let's keep it a buck. Let's be all. Let's be all the way honest, because to me, I feel like KD and Russ, even though they showed their age at times, they showed a lot more resolve and ability to persevere. James Harden, that series right there, let me know that he's likely never going to win it.
Oh, for sure.
It's not as the featured player. So, I mean, they potentially, I know they don't want to repeat history. They don't want to go through the same experience that they did because also, right, them losing Harden, that messed up some opportunity for them. But at the same time, sometimes you got to see, is this third banana that I think is ripe with the rest of us? I see what I did there.
Is it enough? Not for real. Yeah.
Is he enough? Is he worth having around, or is this fool's gold? Have I been duped into believing that because of his draft status and because of his regular season play, have I been duped into thinking
his skill set? You know what I'm saying? He has that skill set, that you want in his modern era basketball.
And it's in both situations. Both situations, right? So that's where this game, I think that OKC in this game 7, I think this is more than just we have to win. This is we have to win for our franchise's future, because
we gotta show who we are.
Because make no mistake, Presti and everybody else is watching.
Oh, for sure.
And they are thinking everything through. And they that there's a part of them thinking, we got here off of draft picks, largely. What's to say, all right, we tried, it didn't work. What's to say we don't sweep the deck and try anew? But what does that mean if you're a Chet? What does that mean if you're a J-Dub? SGA ain't going nowhere. He's good.
Yo, for sure.
But y'all too, and especially Chet.
And you can't blame him though, because in this era of this second apron basketball, you can't be complacent. You can't necessarily expect to have the same continuity, the same core group of guys together for the duration of their careers. It's just not realistic. Especially in a small market team, they ain't paying that damn luxury tax on. I mean, are they? I'm not trying to get nobody pockets. It ain't my bill. I can't help you, brother. So it's like that's to that point. Like,
oh, baby, I ain't got no money.
that's what I'm saying. How far are you willing to take it to get a championship? How much is the championship worth to you?
Yeah,
is another point.
That's the best question, and right now, I can say that watching and witnessing Indy, oh no, this means everything to them.
Oh, for sure.
And the fact that they haven't even had that A+ game, right?
No,
that's giving them all the fuel to go out there and have that same set game on your home court, run you out of your own building. And I feel for SGA because he's like, damn, like y'all had one job. I'm trying to put my name in NBA history, and y'all can't do the simplest of tasks. So I don't know, man. This is one interesting NBA Finals. I don't fully know what to make of everything, but I can definitely say I've been disappointed in OKC, Sands, SGA, J-Dub, Caruso. And as for Indy, I've been pleasantly surprised and pleased with what I've seen, but I've not also been amazed by them either. It's like it's
that's the thing.
It's weird. So I don't know. It's hard to break this. It was hard to break this game down.
It was because that's the thing. I don't think it wasn't to me a series that or game that had quite a whole lot of analysis to me. It was a game where like they didn't show up. They didn't know what was required of a great team, of a team that with that much talent, that record that they have. They didn't give the type of energy they needed to give. Because I felt like they acted as if like, oh, Halliburton, he might not even play. We good, you know what I'm saying? Like they thought they had it in the bag. Is basically what I'm trying to say. And you never, as championship teams, don't do that. And you know that as a Celtics fan, you know what I'm saying? When that game 6 in 08, y'all bust our ass. You know what I'm saying?
Look, man, we had the largest comeback. We already were a team that had allowed 2 7-game series to happen with lesser opponents and the Hawks and the Cavs. And then when it came to how we were even positioned in the finals, we had more wins, but no one on our team had championship experience.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe already had 3 rings, even though people weren't respecting them enough, but he already did have 3 rings. D Fish had 3 rings. D Fish was on the team, the Jazz team that beat the We Believe Warriors. People forget that. He came back.
He did big shot,
so it's like there was so much at stake, and this was the same. We brought the Big 3, which kicked off the super team era. Like there was so much at stake, but I was glad that thankfully that they didn't fold.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you saw they were battle tested on the way there.
100%.
As frustrating as it was to be a Celtics fan in that moment of like, really 7 games to the Hawks? Really, this is what we doing?
Yeah.
But at least you could see, okay, like this is just strengthening them
mm-hmm.
for when they get to this point of the finals. But with OKC, you had a 5-game series, then you had a 7-game series, then you had it was another 5-game series. So it's kind of up and down. And now I find it ironic that they're gonna have another 7-game series. So OKC's got to want it as bad as Indy wants it.
That's the thing.
That's what it really kind of breaks down to. And if they don't, then hey, whatever clowning that happens to you, your only way of beating it, of pushing back, you got to win the finals.
That's it.
It's the only way.
That's all that's, yeah. And that's to me is like, again, like I harp on a sense of urgency. Like I say, the Celtics team, they showed that, but they also built it through adversity because they knew what was at stake, and they overcame it in those previous rounds. With the Thunder, they haven't had the same battle tested nature. I mean, you could say Game 7 in Denver, but they also destroyed Denver. You know what I'm saying? Aaron Gordon being hurt, Caruso was able to contain Nikola Jokic. That game was never really in doubt. Now, do we see that happening in this Game 7 of the NBA Finals? Again, different stakes. I don't see that happening the same way. I'm not expecting I'm expecting a very tightly contested, hard-fought game because I think both teams are going to be on pins and needles. You know what I'm saying? Because the Thunder didn't expect to be in this position, and I got to imagine, they might not admit it. Pacers didn't either.
No.
Ain't no way hell. Come on now. Stop.
I did that. Like the Pacers are like the kid that snuck into the movie theater and was like, this worked? They didn't ID me?
100%.
I'm here. I'm watching this R-rated movie and I'm not 18. What? Like there's a little bit of that, but that level of passion is there.
Oh yeah.
You can feel it. You could feel that, hey, yeah, we weren't expected to do this, but we're here though. Make no mistake. So I guess only time will tell. Now, what's your prediction for Game 7? Who comes away from this winning Finals MVP?
For the Finals MVP, like I said, I'm sticking with my prediction. I got Thunder winning. I believe I got to check that spread real quick. I believe the spread last time I checked was 6.5. Again, I think it's gonna be a closer game than that. It's gonna be a tight game, but I have Thunder winning. SGA dropping 30 plus. I think again, we mentioned before, Thunder need their guy to play well. Pacers haven't need the guy to play well, but I think he will play well. I think SGA is gonna have an MVP performance, not just an MVP performance, but a Finals MVP performance to capture his first championship, first Finals MVP. Which that is something I'm excited to see because that is gonna bring up some great conversations. As far as like. But then could it not? Because at the same time, SGA, you won your first championship. You got a whole laundry list of accolades this year, but like you beat the Pacers in a 7-game series. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't like Jordan who beat Magic. You know what I'm saying? It's a little different. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then that's not I want to hold against him, but I'm just thinking will he get that same level of credit? Will his team get viewed the same way as those other teams who had guys who accomplished some of the things? Obviously, Michael Jordan did all those things too back in '91 when he captured his first championship. So it's like, can SGA will he be remembered that way through history? That'll be probably a different conversation. But I do have the Thunder winning this Game 7, and of SGA having a big time performance, capturing that Finals MVP.
I like that prediction. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna stand 10 toes with it. I'm gonna go Thunder in 7, but I think even with SGA having a big game, I think Halliburton's gonna have his best game.
That's the scary part, though.
But that's where SGA gets to really show and prove I'm the best player in the league. Make no mistake. You can look at my team and say, what's going on with y'all? But me, individually, I want you to walk away from this saying that I'm the best in the league right now.
And at the same time, though, I will say this. I think for them to win, again, with his inexperience possibly playing a role, SGA will need to be the best player. But I think the most important player will still need to be a guy like Alex Caruso. I'm going to stand on that, too. And then hopefully –
that's fair.
Hopefully Chet gives me something this game, too. But mainly I'm talking about SGA and Caruso for us, best player, most important, again, with that championship experience. I love to see him, show up big time against him. He's a guy, I believe that, like, for us, when I mentioned trust, he's a dude, when I think about trust, that's where a guy comes to mind, obviously outside of SGA.
I like that. I think there's definitely always those X factors. I think that if Indy wins, expect Nembhard to be the biggest X factor because that's what he's been this entire series. I would damn near argue that his name definitely deserves a couple of votes for most Finals MVP.
They win here too, yeah.
If they win, it would be hard not to. And his impact has gone beyond just the box score.
Mm-hmm. You gotta watch the game.
You gotta really watch the game and see his impact. So yeah, I guess we'll see. You know what I'm saying? We got an exciting game to look forward to. We're both sticking with our prediction, but hey, if we end up out of this fools, then so be it.
Hey, so we weren't afraid to put our opinions on paper though. That's the main thing.
That's
You know
true.
what I'm saying? At the end of the day, hey, it ain't my team, so like I'm not really stressing.
Hey, for real.
I got it wrong, man. Please, bro. It's just fun at this point. My Lakers out. I'm just having fun, bro.
Can I get an amen on that? No, that's
Hey,
facts.
man,
That's facts. Because I'm like, yo, I'm a Celtics fan. I have no emotional ties
Yes.
to this. I mean, I low key have more connection to the Pacers than I do OKC, but
True. Smith was a Celtic. Yeah.
I had some family that briefly lived in Nap. My roommate was from Nap. Some of my like really good friends throughout high school and college.
Okay.
Randomly from Nap, from
Gary.
Yeah. So like I've weirdly had a connection with the Pacers for a lot, many years, but I'm not the way I look at it is I'm not mad either way.
Mm-mm. I want to see a great game, great competitive game.
That's all. I will say, like, this series has shown me, bless you. This series has shown me that, good basketball is still possible.
For sure.
If anybody's in denial, I like that the refs have not been calling as many fouls. Like, I just like
that. Let them play. They grown men. Come on now.
Just let them go out there. But I'm not going to sit and say this has been the prettiest of basketball either. And this has been like the greatest display of showing. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to stick with it. Game 7, I'm going to stick with OKC in 7. SGA doing the damn thing, getting his name in history, but I don't know, man.
It's scary, man. But they put themselves in this position where that's why we don't know, because it's like this really shouldn't have happened, man. It really shouldn't have gone this way. Y'all had every opportunity to get it done in Game 6, and it happened because y'all didn't show up. It didn't happen because the Pacers went and took it to y'all and had this amazing game. No, they did not. You know what I'm saying? So now it's on you.
Now, the ball is in your court.
100%. What you gonna do with it?
I can give it to you, but what you gonna do?
With it? Yes.
That's a throwback right there. But yeah, man. Well, I think we've kind of exhausted every point that there is. Just it was a weird game to break down, analyze, but we're gonna allow things to play out naturally and see what happens and go forth. That's the only way we can go about it. But I guess that's a good way to close things off and wrap things up.
Yes, sir.
It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, my brother Phil, to have you on board talking ball, and breaking the game down, breaking what's been going on in this series. Let the people know where they can find you, and we'll move from there.
Yes, sir. It's your boy Philip Wilson. Obviously, Wilson Way Sports Talk YouTube channel, Wilson Way Sports Network, my blog site, Wilson Way Sports newsletter. Find me on LinkedIn, my Instagram as well, PhilWill24. Also, Wilson Way Sports Talk, my Instagram page as well. So, wherever you're gonna find me, man, I'm in the book. Talk to me.
Hey, he said, like Pac, I ain't hard to find.
Yes, sir.
Hey, well, y'all stay blessed. Stay tuned for more content. We're definitely going to do a breakdown after Game 7, and then
looking forward to that.
And yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited for that. And do a breakdown of just the NBA Finals as a whole, and looking at things moving forth the rest of the season. NBA
NFL talk too. With training camp coming up, we got to talk some football too, man.
Football too, man. Definitely do. So make sure that y'all are staying tapped in. Like, share, subscribe. That's the only way that this grows. That's the only way that it improves. So, stay tuned for more content. It's not just going to be all NBA Finals, not just going to be all basketball. There's a lot to look forward to. But it was an absolute pleasure. It was an absolute joy. My brother Phil, you keep it chill, and we're just going to keep it real over here on Chillin' with Dylan. Signing.